How's everybody today?
Good. How are you?
Good, good.
Good. Good.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, thanks for having me.
hmm So let's wait a little bit just to see if we have for more people today.
Sure. Oh, fun.
So Tulu, you are the first one. So this is the first time for
Oh,
this activity.
Yeah.
Very good. So I expecting more from turn one.
Yes, and exactly. I'm a little confused about the full-time, part-time. I know that right now.
Mhm.
Which plan is for me, and really. uh,
Yeah, we have so many. I think that it's my feeling that almost 2/3 of our students they are working
Yeah,
during the day, and then so they have no opportunity to participate here. Okay.
yeah.
But we try to do the recording. Um, you can watch that later. Hi, Mary.
Hello. How are you
Hello,
doing?
hello, hello. Good, good.
Hi. Sorry, I'm at work.
Oh, you are
Um,
at work.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm just gonna be listening.
I was thinking that we don't have to use the mask. Or in Edmonton. Are you in Edmonton? No? Yeah.
Um, well, I think I'm the only one using.
Double security.
Okay.
Alvaro. Hi,
Hello.
Alvaro. Welcome,
How are you?
welcome. Good,
How's
good, good.
everything?
How do you feel today? Better?
A little better. A little better.
Mm.
And you?
Yeah, good, good.
That's
We,
good.
we, we finish. So we finish the term.
Happy Mother's Day.
Was that? Okay, so let's start. I was waiting for more new people here, but Toulouse. So this is for you. So just an explanation about this activity. So every turn at the end, so we do kind of a resuming, and then so we have an opportunity to meet all the level of the term and share what we have doing. So see some project and at the same time highlight and recognize the best project. And also we have some announcement and news, and sometimes we have some guest speakers from the industry or from our alumni. So today we are going to have Ben Ben Wells. He recently graduated from our BIM program, and we invite him to explain what has been his experience here, and you are open to have questions. So then this will be more or less the activity. So after Ben's, we are going to play PowerPoint with showing some kind of a project and assignment from different level. And yeah, so this will be the script. Okay, so
Perfect.
welcome, Ben.
great. Thanks.
Yeah, so yeah, uh, I don't know. So
I have
you have some PowerPoint or some kind of
I'm not a
okay.
big
So
particular PowerPoint fan, if I'm being honest, but I will. I did prepare a little something so that it wasn't just entirely conversational, but that's
mhm,
largely what I like is to just talk to people and.
excellent.
So don't hesitate to jump in, like treat it like a conversation, I think. But I'll tell you what I mean. First of all, I'll introduce myself. That's where I'll start. So I'm Ben Wells. I am with a company called D80 Sales. We're a manufacturer's agent. And we represent 18 electrical manufacturers in the province of Alberta. And as an agency, what we really do is some people call us like middlemen. So like you're needing a middleman today. And basically we represent the manufacturer's interests as they travel through the channel, and we drive specifications and we drive demand for them while supporting distributors, contractors, inspectors. And my particular role is an application and product solutions manager for the company. And my role is to handle our technical approach to sales. And so the reason I got into the BIM side was primarily because I see a very disruptive trend in our business. Traditionally speaking, we would see this level of engineering done at the high industrial level. So like when Syncrude and Suncor were built in the province, they were built at a high level of detail. And so they would know their conduit runs, their pipe runs, they would know everything about that job. And largely they did a lot of it by hand. At least the coordination was done by hand. And that meant that when you would put a product into that design, it would be sticky. We call it sticky, or hooks, lots of hooks. You might hear a couple things said, but our aim is to get it into the design. To do that, we help engineers do their job a little faster. Product guys tend to know about their products very well. So we can fill in the gaps for an engineer. And in doing so, they typically reward us either one of two ways. Either we get a design fee and they will pay us, which I can tell you isn't as always often as I would like to see. And then what we get is rewarded with specifications. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have finished your spec writing course yet, but I found it to be incredibly valuable. So anybody that's, whether you're going into design or whether you're going to support design or be a designer, I found that to be one of the really important courses. Anyways, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to share my screen now that I've introduced myself in the longest winded way possible. Let's see here. I'm going to share an entire screen. Please don't laugh at my my messy desktop, okay? What I'm going to try to do here is start this thing up. And I got the wrong screen, of course I did. Here. Sorry guys, on my desktop, being a design guy, I've got 4 screens now. Sorry, I broke one. And it's a little bit chaotic when you're doing something like this, so I apologize. No, that's not it. You know what I'm going to do? Do this. I'm going to do this because you know what? It doesn't really matter. Okay. So you guys can see this okay? You get thumbs up from anyone? Yeah. Good. Got it. Thanks. Okay. So really quickly about who we are. I'm not going to get into our lines. Normally I do that and harass people, but I'm not going to do that to you guys. Just to have a quick idea. We have some pretty big lines that you may or may not be familiar with, but they're well-known lines. And for the consumers in the room of interest, perhaps we're APC reps, and we are reps of, kitty smoke detectors. You'd see those in your houses, right? So we do that kind of work, but we also do flow car charging, which is kind of interesting. We've been doing this since the 40s in Alberta, so we've been doing it a long time. We've seen a lot of trends, and our entire business has moved from sales into BIM design. So it's been an incredible journey in that sense, where we're going, where the industry's going as a whole. I'm not here to brag about myself. Okay, so this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about how BIM is playing a role in the sales process and how the sales process is changing. So when you guys took the course in sales specifications, specifications, I do sales specifications, but specifications is that as a manufacturer or as a sales rep for a manufacturer, there's a lot of onus placed on you to write the specification for the consultant. So we do a lot of spec writing, and I thought I was pretty good at that, and I realized that there's still a lot to learn. And one of the things that I've realized in the last while is that the master specification, I'm going to get into that. I'm going to jump ahead all day. I'm going to skip that. That's why I hate PowerPoints, because I have something I want to say and it's hold me up. But BIM is for construction HTMLs for the internet. I just love that. Remember, like, BIM isn't software, right? We've had that drilled into us. BIM is process. BIM is like the communication of a construction process or an idea. And really that's all sales is, right? So But for construction, what it's becoming quickly is as we shift into design build models. So you guys are familiar with that construction method as well, and that's what we're doing because we used to do like a lot of upfront design, then it would go to bidding, it would go through the distribution network, all the manufacturers get involved, we submit change orders, we finally get the thing purchased, and it's 2 years later. And it's expensive. It really is. So, and I don't care what people say, BIM is cheaper to do than anything else is to do today. I mean, it is, the software has become a lot easier to use. We have more participants. We have a broader technical understanding as a team in the construction process. But ultimately, a design build is we're going to sit together as a group of people. We're going to bring our subs in. I'm a sub. I'm an electrical guy, so I'm a sub to a general. And the general will hire us, and we will start working with the team. Not me personally, but I'll be involved because of my manufacturers. And so the HTML is the internet, it's the code, right? It's the way we display information on the internet. And that's such a good analogy, I think. So anyway, basically 3D models in the real world are a nice toy. I mean, they're not used in the way that you might have expected taking the course. They're used in to convey information. They're used for crash detection. They're used for designing a housekeeping pad or to figure out square footage. Architects use it extensively, but when a sub-trade like myself gets involved, typically our involvement isn't as high. So if you're going into architecture, you're going to use it every day of your life. And as a big engineer, a multidisciplinary engineer, you use it all the time. And in the sub-trades, we're using it more and more. And that's because of this collaborative aspect of what we're doing. But this is really where it comes in for most people. And actually, interestingly enough, for the owner, who's the buyer, right? Is it the guy building the building? Is it the guy buying the product? Is it the contractor buying the product? Is it the engineer that we're working with? BIM is for peace of mind. There's so much that can go wrong that when I supply somebody a model versus a spec sheet, everybody knows what they're getting. As in, is it this feature or that feature? Well, you can click on the model and check. And I'm not always privy to what is important to a guy. So by giving it to him in a complete way, or as complete as we can be, then it becomes quite disruptive because they would like to use my documents because they're easy to use. The minute it becomes hard, they will do it themselves. And that's when I lose control. So, and I asked this question because I think this is a really important one here, is how does this change the written master specification? So you guys familiar with the master spec? Master specs are great. They're rarely used. They're used when creating a specification. The number one way a consultant will design something is by taking a good existing design that worked well and then modifying that to the new project's needs. And that's, as we've learned in our course there in spec writing, it was a very important way to do it. In fact, most will start that way. You think from a master spec, but very rarely once they've developed their internal spec, perhaps. The other thing to a master spec is that while it's got a lot of great information in there, it's up to the consultant to remove information. And they may not be comfortable with that. They may not know that. They're inclined to leave longer ones. But that's not how engineers are designing things. Certainly not sub-engineers like an electrical consultant or mechanical consultant or fire consultant. They're typically going to work in their little world. And so what they'll do is they'll take out big chunks of that and then put the specification into a drawing. And so that's a really important thing to understand, because the real world is a lot more we cut things out, right? Because of profitability. So while we would want to do a full BIM design to the highest level of detail that we can do, hand it off to the owner and make the owner feel really great about their maintenance schedule for the next 20 years. In practice, that costs money. And so that's the part of BIM that we're really not adopting to any high level. Now, healthcare authorities, things like that, 100%. Government agencies, 100%. It's the guy building a commercial building that has housing your Macs, store, your Subway sandwich shop. Those definitely are not doing that. And that's the bulk of the work you'll probably run into. Not everybody gets to design the great, big, beautiful bridge. So let's talk a little bit about product awareness. So there's two ways, there's several ways actually that we're gonna find a brand, right? You're gonna start on the internet, you're gonna start Googling, you're gonna start whatever. Hopefully you come to a guy like me and say, what do I need? How do I do this? Which is typically what I do all day for guys. And when I answer the question, there's two ways I can do that. I can answer the question and here's the specification sheet I downloaded from the internet for you. I'm guessing he knows how to Google stuff. What they really want to know is, I've given you an application. I've told you what it is that I need done. Can you just give me only what I need? As in, don't give me all that stuff. Give me only what I need. So it's kind of shifting that master spec. But when we talk about brand awareness, we work very hard, especially in the marketing world, to develop that brand awareness. And most of the time it comes down to how you identify with the brand. And if that brand is always hard to work with, or that manufacturer is hard to work with, then you're less likely to work with them. You know, it's why Apple has that open store concept. They're trying to build their brand by showing how open and how, you know, hip they are. And they've got this whole angle of developing the brand. The easiest way you can develop a brand is be helpful. And the more helpful you are, you lend your brand to that particular manufacturer. And over a period of time, that's what ultimately makes it strong. So it does do a great job at that. And of course, we already know if we're delivering a BIM model or we're delivering a piece of BIM information, and we're doing that in such a way that it makes it easy for somebody, then we're going to do that. We're going to be much more successful, and they're going to keep coming back over and over, and then feel very strongly about buying from you. So this is one thing that we've really run into, is that as the architects use this as a day-to-day tool, as the consultants are using it more and more, the poor guy who didn't get to go to digital school to learn BIM, okay, and that's why I did it, was because I knew how to do some drafting, but I didn't know how to talk to my customers in their language. And that this course is excellent at that. It really does an excellent job at helping you understand, you know, the value that you bring. Now, you guys are new, and that's exciting because there's a lot of guys that want to hire people like you, and you'll hear them say, I hate Revit, I hate BIM, I hate these things. Because it's not that they hate the tool. What they're saying is they hate learning all this stuff, and they'd rather hire you to do it. And I got a little bit of gray in my beard here. I can tell you that I did this because I knew that if I could do it for them, if I could just help them with that extra step, then it would save me countless hours of time trying to convince them to buy stuff from me. It's just hit the easy button. And BIM can be the easy button in the sales process for everyone around you. And since time is money and profitability, we can also make them more profitable. And so now when I'm discussing how I can help an engineer, I'm not talking about my product's value. I'm talking about the value that I bring to them, and the communicating to them and the standards that they're used to. So, but now as they're becoming more fluent in Revit and software like Revit, I mean, we heard about all the different softwares that's being used in Revit or in BIM today, and really, like, Revit is by far and away the single greatest tool. Now you can use AutoCAD. A lot of guys prefer that. Like, give me the Revit model, but I'm going to put it in CAD. But ultimately, it starts a lot of the time, and most of the time, it's going to start in Revit due to the attributes that Revit brings. It's a very good tool for attributes and being able to use the attributes in useful ways. Like, I'm going to do a breaker layout, and I want to know how much power I'm going to apply to it. I can say that breaker is going to draw X current, and it'll do a lot of my homework for me. So it's got some nice additional value. I'm absolutely not going to do this. So I'm not going to read a slide to you. So shortening sales cycles, that was critical when lead times are critical. So when we can communicate as much information as possible in a clear and concise way, and BIM does that very well, then we have a better chance at reducing the sales cycle, reducing frustration, and hitting that easy button. So I'm absolutely not reading slides today. I wanted to show you some cool stuff. Only I think it's cool, you might not, but since you're in this course, I'm going to take a guess and say you probably think it's relatively cool. I'm going to zoom in a bit on some of this stuff. So this is one I was doing this morning. This is for the University of Alberta, and the University of Alberta has come to the team, the market, and said, I want to migrate my data center, and I'm going to do a bunch of cool experiments, and I need a big data center with a lot of power, and I need it to be an uninterrupted power supply is what they're looking for. Now, this is an open tender. You can see that anywhere, and you can download the specs and look at how this is, you know, where this stuff comes from if you're ever curious. I would say that's pretty academic of you, but you could. And basically what they say is, here's basically what I want you to guys, give me some ideas, is what they're saying. Give me some ideas. So when we tackle this as a team, and this is a big team working with IBM and APC and a bunch of guys to put this sort of thing together. Now, DAD Sales is the designer for APC in Alberta. So we do all their design work. And so we're sitting at the table as a designer on this job, hopefully a sales guy later, but that's my whole point. We start here, make the sales easy later. And so this is a redundant power supply design. How do we do these things? How do we communicate these things? How do we put them into a proposal? And how do we do that in a way that doesn't cost us a fortune? You know, we've maybe 5 guys on this job on my team, 5 of us, maybe a day each. It's a week. And that's just to give the university some ideas. So it's something that we want to make sure we do as cost effectively as possible. So we're using tools like Revit. We're using tools, some online design tools, things like that. In the interest of tying a bunch of product together and to communicate effectively, I drew this morning this topology layout to show how this stuff is going to get stuck together. And so it's the communication of that in the case of the sales process that allows us to do that in a cost-effective way and be clear. So as in, if you just want an idea, here's a really cool 3D layout. We just threw it in CAD. I think this is done in Revit. And then, you know, here's a visual idea of what you're going to buy. Because when you look at the build of materials, it's 7 pages long and it has a terrifying price tag. I can't even get through it myself. So by communicating it in an effective way like this, we save time, we save money for everybody around. Great example. So I'm a manufacturer, not an engineer, to be clear. So that is not my role. My role is to sell stuff. I'm a sales guy. But here's a great example. So this one is done for the city of Edmonton. City of Edmonton said to my contractor, over my dead body, are you going to stack a transformer? Like, it's not going to happen. You better get an engineer in here and you better stamp up a drawing and you better show me on paper that this is going to work. So again, picture's worth 1,000 words. Engineer is not going to look at a strut catalog. He's not going to look at the deflection points. He's not going to look at the weight distribution. The contractor is really on his own. So he could go and tackle this on his own, or he can come to a guy like me and say, hey, Ben, you sell that stuff. Can you help understand how to apply it and how to calculate deflection? Can you give me only what I need to know? I don't want 5 catalogs and 2 white papers. All I want is 1 sheet of paper I can hand this guy in an email. So, you know, this is our attempt at that. And this is a good example, because to do this quickly, the fastest way to do it is 3D. So you draw everything up in 3D. It's faster by far. I grab the manufacturer's 3D model. I'm in it. I'm going right away. I then do my quick calculation of deflection, put it in the notes, put it in one drawing, send it off. The engineer came back with one question. I'd like you to add 2 pieces of strut here and here for the rails. It has nothing to do with weight distribution. It has to do with something else. So there he goes. He's got to build materials. He's got it all in one sheet. He knows what to buy. And you better believe, because my part numbers are listed in this drawing, I get that sale no matter what, 100%. Okay. Now, in this case, like, I don't make money selling a little bit of strut. What I do is I try to be helpful to guys. And so that guy says to me, hey, I know to call Ben whenever there's a problem. He's my problem solver. I sell a lot of product because of it. So just being a technical, so like being more like a designer or consultant will really ultimately allow, I got 2 of those, will really allow you to be a sales guy. So you can be in sales and not be like, let me sell you the sham wow. Let me tell you why this thing is so great. Like, I got the best rag in the business. Let me tell you about it. Like, oh, so boring. Anyway, sales can be tough, but a lot of sales now is this BIM. It's technical. It's being able to show that. So there's lots of guys looking for you in our space, and it's a fun way to sell product. So here's a good example. I sell this thing. Okay, this is a car charger. Okay, so you know, lots of car charging stuff going on. That's why we're in that space. But you'll see here, there's a charging head. Here's a cable management bracket. Okay, so there's 2 parts there. There's a gateway, like this little communication gateway, really easy to miss. In fact, it's not listed in any of our spec. Like, if you would go look at a spec sheet for the Core Plus on Flow's site, you would not see this gateway in there. It wouldn't exist. And what do I get? And do I need networking? What does that cost? How does that work? Like, there's so many questions that what a consultant says to me is, I don't care, just do it. I don't want to hear about it, but you're on the hook. And then they give me the spec. So I get to sell it just because I put this together. And so this drawing here has got a couple things I want to highlight. One is not typical to see on an engineering drawing to see a Made in Canada logo there. But what am I trying to communicate, right? I'm trying to quickly communicate that this is made in Canada, and with all the supply chain disruptions, Made in Canada is a very good thing. I'm communicating. I don't over annotate. Don't do that just because you think somebody might want to know something. The nice thing about a BIM model is that by putting this drawing to scale, they can figure anything they want out of it. I'm trying to communicate something right now. I'm trying to show them some specific things, highlight specific things, as in, you need to mount this up 6 feet because you want to get a mop under there. And if you don't have that 6 inches there, you're gonna be really frustrated trying to clean that. So it's such a small little detail. But by them looking at this, they go, okay, so I know that I need this to be a minimum of 60 inches for these 2 brackets, and I know that this needs to be 6 inches. So, like, how do you screw it up? And that's what I'm aiming to do. Little bit of annotation, but here's the big magic in these days is that the master specification, as I indicated, is, oh, this is blurry, I apologize. But the master specification, okay, is great starting point for guys. This is what they end up with, though. They'll take out all the stuff. They say, no, you're not tricking me, Ben. I'm not putting that in there. I know that instantly hooks your product, and I'm not putting all the hooks in. I want this to be a competitive process. So What they'll often do though is they'll put like one notation on a drawing. They will not include a full written spec. They'll include this drawing, 100% they will. They'll say this or equivalent, but what they won't do is give me a full written specification. So what I'm going to do now is as a sales guy is I'm going to say, see this basis of product design. So I'm actually calling this product out by SKU now. I'm saying, here's what's the key features that you would want to know, the distinguishable features. And I'm trying to be a little agnostic in it. So the engineer takes my spec as it's written and drops it right in. So sometimes spec writing isn't about like writing the best specification you could possibly write. It's understanding your audience. So who is the contractor? Who's the electrician or engineer? How do they like to write specs? Do they like to write a master spec? Like on a government job, you'll see that. Do they like to put it in the notes and the details? Sometimes they'll give you the written specification in a drawing, like in a with a header. And so what I do is I kind of do both. I put it all in one drawing so they can copy it into CAD. I give them one piece of text that I think I'm going to get, and then I elaborate. I give them reference standards. I give them like standards on the type of connector. I give them a couple definitions. I, of course, throw my approved manufacturers, and I'm cheeky. I say alternate manufacturers shall have a minimum of 10 years in the Canadian market and operate a Canadian national network with a minimum of 50,000 transactions a month across Canada. So we're the only guys that can do that. Okay, so that's why I have this in here. So this whole spec is loaded that way. But in all fairness, I'm still considering my audience, and I'm saying to them, do you understand why these things are important? If you don't feel value in that statement, then get rid of that statement. That doesn't matter. But I've limited it to the best. So when they say network and communication, does anybody on this call know? Probably not. After having this document, you may not know what the other stations do, but you absolutely know what this station does. Networking, what features it has. So again, BIM is that this is BIM. This is what BIM is. This is about being able to take what we know, communicate it effectively with a ton of information, and then be very specific to the project we're working on. And there's a big confusion in that, because sometimes I supply BIM models. I'm doing BIM. No, 100% no. That's not what BIM is, right? I got a BIM model. I hate that. My manufacturers say that all the time. I got a BIM model. Oh, what does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? At what level of detail? What is included in that? Are you giving, texture mapping? Are you giving them a basic model? Or do you have the features? You know how many guys don't load the attributes into their models? Like tons. So guys like me will take their 3D model in Revit. I'm going to add in my attributes. I'm going to design it around the model. I'm going to take out things that I know are not needed. I'm going to provide a clean model now to my partner. And in many cases, because I know exactly what they want, I'll provide them a full written specification as well. I want to give them the entire package in one email. And so that's one of the ways we do that. Let's see, do I got any other goodies for you? Okay, so this is page 2 of that same document. And here's where it gets interesting, is because in a sales process, we're not trying to make shop drawings, right? We're not trying to make construction drawings or as is drawings. We're trying to make sales drawings. So there's a big distinction between them. They look the same, but different things inside them. For example, in this one here, what I want them to do is take this document at the time of quotation. So I touch it one time as a sales organization. It goes through distribution, goes through the process of the channel, gets purchased. When that distributor touches it and he's got my quotation package, I want them to have it all in one spot. They open the email, they grab this page, they say, I need you to fill this document out. I need you to fill this out. I need your constant. Why? Because everything I sell today, guys, has an app, or it has something that we've got to have, a way to set up an account, right? Like every time you get another, interact with another business, you got another login, right? Well, that's no different with us. And the other thing that's important is things like that guys may not realize is I'm doing my layouts and I'm going to do my design work. If I can give them the key things they need right at the time of procurement, that's when they start thinking about things, to be honest. Is how does that look? So in the case of this particular product, we want them to do a site survey to make sure that we can put the radios in that spot, that the cellular radios work correctly. We're saying here, don't put it through metal, guys. If you do, see this little wire here, we're going to have to put that in. Think about this stuff, guys, right? Here, minimum of 46.7 meters away from the signal. You can have that first head. The things that would affect the install. And so by giving them all this information at once, and then them, of course, signing off on their shop drawings with me, because I won't accept their PO if they do not, then I can send that to my manufacturer. And then when they go to commission this product, they have everything they need. It limits the back and forth. And going back to what the BIM does, it's about communication, right? So if we can communicate effectively, then we reduce the back and forth, we increase profitability, and we increase how much work we can do and how frustrating our lives ultimately are. And that's why people buy stuff. Here's a good one. Say to my manufacturer, hey guys, they don't want your pedestal. They don't want the pedestal. They want all this cable management stuff though, and they want to mount it on a wall. So the problem with that system is that as you can see here, I'll zoom in a bit. As you can see here, this little bracket, there's a pedestal that normally sits here. So this is now floating against the wall. It's not going to work. So what I'm saying to my manufacturer is, I need you to get these standoffs done for me. So here's what I propose. So I take the 3D model, I put it in, I measure right off the 3D model. I decide how big this needs to be. It's 6 by 6 by 18. I go out in the world and I find this product because I don't want to build it. If I can find a product like this, then I'll go find it. So here we go. I got this little bracket that could pretty much be made anywhere. And I've incorporated it into the drawing. And so what I'm saying here is like, this is not standard. That's why it's magenta. I'm highlighting it. I'm bringing a lot of focus and attention to it. So that gives you a little bit of an idea how I would do something like that. Here's another one. I got a team of sales guys, right? We got 18 bodies in our company they're constantly running around. And they ask me the same questions over and over. Oh, this is blurry. That's nice. So what I do sometimes is I'll create like flow, F-L-O-W in this case, not F-L-O like my line. But in this case, I say start here, and then I start asking questions like I would if I was just talking to a human being. And I just keep exhausting them. So, is this a residential application? Is this a commercial application? If it's a residential application, go here, ask another question, and then take the path. And at the end of it all, it'll start to select the product. Pick this product in this configuration. Okay, so this is another way that we will take. That philosophy, that BIM philosophy of communicating information, and do it in such a way that like one sheet is better than a 20-page written document, right? This is a 20-page written document, like how to specify, broken into one page. And so sometimes it's all about how can I communicate that in a visual way, and this is a visual way, but how can I communicate that, all the rules and the ifs, thens, and how do I do that without giving them something like this? Otherwise, you got to become an expert. You got to learn more. So it's a very handy way to do it. Another good example. So this is actually this one here. That's the exact same models. Those are the same exact models, right? So I create that from the model, but I'm in the model and I'm looking at it. How is this going to fit? Do I like the lip that this bracket? This is the bracket from my manufacturer, and here's the box that I'm putting in, right? So I'm basically saying this box, and then because this is why I have this here. You see all these cutouts here? So I can take those cutouts now and I can map them, right? I can project them to my box. I can then take that projection, I can send it to a manufacturer to have done on a CNC machine. So not only am I communicating to my customer right now, and I could do this a lot of ways, right? Like I could napkin sketch this. I could do it a handful of ways. But this way, the next logical step in the construction process is that this model is used in construction now. So they can take that model, go right into construction. So we're not having to go back to a redesign phase. It's already done. Here's another good one. On the Flow website, we have this beautiful DC fast charger. For those of you that are curious, and I'm happy to answer questions later, this will charge an F-150 in an hour and a half, and it'll do a Tesla 3 from 0 to hero in 45 minutes. So pretty interesting stuff. It's happening really fast, guys. Anyway, but one thing I had a question on is, what does the back of this thing look like? Because every picture I have is just the front here. Like, who cares about the back, eh? They give me the clearances. I don't really need to know. Who cares? Well, you know why? Because I need to know if I can vinyl wrap this product. They want to put their branding on it. And the only way I can answer that question, and the fastest way I can answer that question, is to load up a 3D model and look at it. So I don't need to go to my manufacturer and ask a million questions. I can just go and I'm done. Now, probably more interesting to you guys, and then I'm getting to the end here, so I'm sorry I'm taking all this time here. I know you're busy, but is that this is a really cool tool. So I work for Schneider, as I say, at APC, and we do their data center design. We do their uninterrupted power supplies, that sort of thing. And one of the tools they've given us, which is really a gift, if you ask me, is that we can configure right in Revit. So right inside of Revit, I can load the screen up as an add-on, and I can select the product I want to configure. And then it starts asking me questions like, what's my input voltage? What's my output voltage? What's my kilowatt rating? All the stuff I need. And then you see that little button there, you hit the insert button and it pops it right into Revit for you. Okay, so then I'm right inside of Revit, and I've got like, I know this battery cabinet will hold this many batteries of what type and what chemistry. It'll tell me my incoming and outgoing voltage. It'll show me how the connections are between my maintenance bypass cabinet and the battery system. And it answers all the questions I need right then and there. But most importantly is I can hand this model off now with my quote, and I can put that in 3D PDF, for example, so they can walk around their product. And what that's going to do for the owner of this job, and most of the time we are working with owners in these categories, is that they see it, and they'll see things that they wouldn't have seen, as in, oh, that's not going to fit in my room, rather than ship it to them because nobody caught that little detail. And so again, BIM is playing a major role in allowing me to do that at a reasonable time frame and otherwise. And this is one I'm working on right now. That's that same U of A job. And this is another tool. It is not Revit. Okay, so I use both. But this tool here is going to allow me to do a really quick, I can do this thing in about 20 minutes to half an hour and design an entire data center start to finish. And now when I'm showing a customer, because this is 4 pages, as I mentioned earlier, of materials, but now I can look at every little thing. I can then go into my like rack editor and I can say, you know what, this rack here, I'm going to configure this rack and I'm going to put these SKUs in it. So when I'm done, it gathers up all my SKUs and off to the races we go. And then once I get into my design tool, I can download all the Revit files and then do something more like this. Okay. So either way, there's about a million ways to skin that cat. The right answer is, who is my audience and how do they want this information? And I think that's what BIM does so very well. And so that's really all I had for you guys. And, you know, I didn't want to like get into more than some examples, but I ended up doing that. So thank you. Do you guys have any thoughts or questions?
Really interesting, Ben. So thank you for bringing that. So I think you are the first one that's they're touching, you know, the area of sales, linking with BIM. So that's why I understand why you choose the, you know, the the program. And then I remember when we met and doing the technical communication. So you mentioned, so I came here because this topic, you know, it was really interesting. So right now I see what is the point, because we have been always focusing on the design and then the creating the model, but seeing that from the sales perspective, really interesting, really interesting.
Yeah.
So
you know, the gap is closed. You know what I mean? I think there's a gap that's always existed between, I can be a sales guy if I'm a really personable guy. You'll notice I'm a little growly, but a little personable guy, or you could be, and that makes you an engineer. Or a sales guy, I'm going to be a sales guy and I'm going to run around selling rags. But really what's happened is the need to, there's so much more communication being done, right? Like we have all the data products, you know, does it have a website, all those questions. And so guys like me and guys like, maybe guys like you will be doing, answering the questions that Amazon can't answer, right? Amazon's very good. They're better than me at what they do by far. But what Amazon can't do is pull up a 3D model and answer a question. And so there's always going to be a spot for guys like that, but they're becoming far more technical, right? It's becoming so much more technical. Even if you're selling plumbing parts, it's all technical now. So, you know, there's a lot of need for guys to come into this space. And I would encourage you to consider it, because the pay scales in our category, like entry-level design work versus entry-level sales is a magnitude of 2 almost. So there's a lot of opportunity, and then you can still practice your craft, which is really cool, right? Like that's kind of what I'm communicating or trying to, is that, you know, you can do a sales role and not be a salesman.
very good point. So we have Jessa here, so take it note, yes. But yeah, definitely. As you mentioned, well, we know that this is just a new product, so BIM, and then we are in the stage of evolution. But the training will be definitely that standard, and then we have to be involved. Any question, guys? You want to expand? Ask Ben. No.
Hello, how are you, Ben?
Hi, how are you? Good, thank you. Yes.
Very good. My name is Álvaro Samper, and I used to work in SolidWorks and Inventor, and I bring drawings for sales, and they used to say to me always, don't put too much information, because you scare the people. I try to put information like you say, but They say, no, put all that. Then you're going to scare everyone. They're going to believe it's too complicated. It's better not buy.
You nailed it. I think you've really done a great job summarizing that, because I mean, isn't that really it? I mean, I tell you, like, that same job there is going to be if I was to write a full written proposal like we used to do, because they would read them, like, it was worth doing if they're going to read them. But to your point, if I do this and then the next guy gives them 10 pages or 5 pages, human nature, right?
Yeah.
Path of least resistance.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's a great point about not too much information. I can tell you that is a tendency we all have to share our knowledge in full, and heaven forbid, right? It's talk to your significant other about that. You'll find how successful it is.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Alvaro. Very good point. Okay.
That was a great point.
Any other question? Okay, so perfect. So thank you so much, Ben, for staying with us. Okay, and then we invite you to stay, but I know that you are really busy.
Okay, but I'll be the fly on the wall if that's okay.
Excellent. Okay,
right,
thank you so much. Okay, so let's then move into the next topic, and we're going to share our project. Okay, so we're going to start just showing this is the final project in drawing technique, and Charmy, by the way, she just graduated this week, so she used Twinmotion, and this is kind of a software that let you do the rendering really fast, and I try to encourage. So it's not in the curriculum, but we are going to adopt that in the future, definitely. And you can see the kind of resolution that you have in our 10.1 project drawing technique.
So here's a project that we work on in Revit. This is the Summerlee house. I'm sure many of you are familiar with it and familiar with its different challenges and features. So this was done by Craig, not at the completed stage, but at a stage where it's nearly completed. So further development on that same model here, you can see as the roof in. I did a cut section on the upper floor showing staircase and different components. Here's a floor plan for the project in architectural drawing and details. I'm sure most of you, if you're at this point or graduating, you're familiar with this. So this was really nicely done. You can see that he, when he printed it, he included the dimensions in red to add some contrast to show importance. So this was really well done. Basement, main floor here, and yeah, so lots of nice work.
So Mary Newcomb, she developed this final project in structural drawing, and even if we are not in this term touching that kind of course, she has a flexibility to do her own scale. So what is interesting here is that she used software with an AutoCAD platform. It's called Advanced Steel. Okay, and then it's amazing her achievement. So you can see all the detail and the efficiency that has been done is amazing. So for that reason, so we give the certificate of positive attitude to Mary Newcomb. So Mary, I think that you have been outstanding. I want to highlight that you are, like others, a full-time worker and mother of 3. So this implies a lot of sacrifice. So I think that your attitude, your discipline, your attention to the detail, and taking a challenge, because I mentioned that, so why not to do this kind of software? And you did it, and you did excellent. So congratulations for this certification.
So with Mary being in the engineering program, I didn't get to spend too much time with her, but the time that we did spend communicating together, you really get the positive attitude vibe from her. As Antonio mentioned, she's working full time, still maintaining her studies and still maintaining a high standard for all of her work. So the award is well deserved.
Yeah. So okay. So so this is the second part from Chairman. So we in this project always we try to capture the exterior, and this is an example from interior. A lot of detail as a rendering is really close to reality. The next step, as I mentioned, it will be the virtual reality.
Here's showcase of the a house that was worked on in Revit architecture by Doug. So Doug comes to us with some background and some experience already. He has a high level of commitment, and he put a lot of work and detail, as you can see, showing off the staircase and as well as the exterior.
So in this case, this is an example of the assignment number 2 in drawing technique. So orthographic view section and isometric done by Eric McDonald. Guy Dan, so then he developed, this is an example of the auxiliary view. And then we are going to give the achievement of a positive attitude to Guy Dan Jerome.
So Gaetan comes to us as a former real estate agent, and so he wanted to dive into the technical aspect. So I've met with him, have a few interactions with Gaetan over the past term in the Civil 3D course, and he started working on Civil 3D, which is a really technical software, as some of you or most of you are aware. And so he dived into that and going from 0 to 100 in a short period of time, in a matter of 6 weeks rather, and he really enjoyed that and maintained a positive attitude about it, was able to understand what he was to get out of it, and so that's why we present this award to Gaetan.
Yeah, I would like to add, Guy Dan, well, he's missing this activity, he's in another one, but if I want to say that there is one person in the whole course that they have this kind of attitude, is Guy Dan. So in any kind of a lab, we have his presence, and then it was a pleasure to to share with him all this kind of activity.
It's the upper floor plan done by Mahmoud, who's going to be graduating quite soon. Really high level of detail and good quality work from Mahmoud. So here we have some profiles from Doug Penner. So this is from the topography class. If you're in the engineering program, you would take that. So they were tasked with plotting contour lines based on a data set that was provided, and then creating 4 sections through the site. And so you can see here, Doug really illustrates the contour, the shape of the area quite nicely.
So this is another work from Doug, mechanical drawing, and the assignment number 3, a rack slide. So I just screenshot some of his view from the model space. So the final project from Doug, we are developing a vice machine, and then the kind of detail for assembly, and we had to build that. Everything has been done in AutoCAD. And then the final project from process piping, that also is a course from Doug. I select his works. So this is the plan view with all the equipment. And then one of the page showing so all those information that you need for the piping projects. So 3D, isometrics, and then the specification in a bill of material. So this certificate of achievement for leadership is given to Doug Berner. So I think that almost finishing Doug, so the engineering program, and I believe that you have achieving excellent results. Your tendency and discipline, so it's the high level, and always I see that you are taking challenge. Always try to do new things, and then experimenting with a new software. So you are a really great listener and constant learning. So congratulations for this, Chef.
Yeah, I agree with what Antonio said. When Doug came to us, he was quick learner and not afraid to get his hands dirty, always working high level of commitment and dedication. He's not afraid to ask questions, and he's just constantly pushing the boundary. And so for that reason, you deserve this award.
Yeah, congratulations.
Awesome.
So Daniel, that's one. So go ahead, Brand.
Okay, so this is from topography, the topographic drawings and details. So this was similar from what we saw from Doug earlier. They start with a data set and they have to plot points. From the points, they create contours. From the contours, they create profiles of the site. So you can see the progression from going from simple data set points to contour lines, further interval contour lines every 2 meters, and then setting up profiles and actually showing those profiles on a graph, giving us an idea about the topographic features of this site.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a house that is in progress, completed by Jenny. So Jenny has done a really nice job, high level of attention to detail that she provides, very meticulous. So I look forward to seeing this model completed.
Yeah, this is another one. So Julian, he did it, this assignment number 2.4, auxiliary view. So we're sectioning a cone and then show the parabola in different projections. It's excellent execution. Another one from Julian, and he has the sketching. This number 4 activity from the assignment number 1. And Loris, so he created an inventor. So this is something that we have been trying to incorporate. So the kind of assignment that we would love to have inside of the course. And we did it as an experiment, and he developed the whole process, indicating so the kind of technique and command that they're using. So it was an excellent work. So the certification for achievement and leadership, it will be for Loris. So I think, go ahead, Bram.
Oh, okay. So Loris, I haven't had a lot of interaction with Loris. He's still in the early stages of the program, but the interactions I have had with him have been quite positive. A couple of people here have also said that in the room, he's like a motivational speaker. He can really get you going for the day because of his positivity and his outlook, and he's comes to us with a wealth of knowledge in the industry. So for that reason, he's always pushing forward. So for that reason, I feel he deserves leadership.
Yeah. I think that he's a leader, so we enjoy a lot all his work. So he has been for more than 20 years working in the structure. Okay, and then having this kind of information share, like Ben, he did it, so it's amazing. So the opportunity that are older, that they just starting in this field, so see the kind of implication that BIM, it could be, do it to his work. And then as Ben, so this is his goal. You to try to incorporate the conceptualization of BIM into the whole industry of oil and gas.
Here we have a couple pictures of the Revit assignment. This one's completed by Solomon. So here I did a couple horizontal sections showing the interior, the structure, this model is near completion.
Yeah, in drawing technique, we start just browsing the ABC of this kind of communication, visual communication. So you can see the example of the lettering, and then the activity using drafting, so done by Tyler Norris. And then the third task for this module, it is the scale. So one of the most difficult concepts to be integrated in our field, and then it's done by Carrie Parson. So Tulu, so she did it this as the sketching part, okay, and then we complete with that the task. So the certificate of achievement for dedication going to Carrie Parson. So I would like to mention that we have so many students that are enrolling full time, and this implies so that they had to work after hours. So Carrie is one of the case, but in this case, Carrie, so I see this kind of dedication. So she early in the morning, so always is with me, and then so we try to exchange no matter what kind of a problem. So we have a very good communication, and I always place the math issue, and she tried to understand and then search and then find a way, so to comprehend so that kind of a problem. So this is an excellent example of dedication. So congratulations, Carrie.
Congratulations, Carrie. I haven't had any interactions with Carrie yet, but I assume in the future we will. So I look forward to that.
Yeah, on Monday, July the 4th.
Monday,
We are going to have her. So be patient. So this is an example from eMary. This is you can say the assignment number 3 using color in the presentation drawing. So I try to each student to take their own projects and start manipulating. This is an example in turn 3 and 4 of the application of Twinmotion. Really powerful rendering project, and then she did a very good job learning and then applying. So the certificate of achievement dedications goes to eMary. Go ahead, Brandon.
So Emery is in the architectural program. She's working with myself as well as Antonio. So whether it comes to graphics or plans or even just the presentation of data on a page, she always has high standard and always dedicated to her work and looking to improve her work. So that's why we feel that you are deserving of this award, Emery.
Yeah, like Carrie and then Mary. So she's working not full time, but she dedicates a lot of time for the work. Yeah, congratulations for this achievement, Mary. So you're welcome. Okay, so this is an example of the assignment number 2. So we develop orthographic view section isometrics. So this is done by Steven. Where's Sema? Another example, completing the assignment number 2 with the auxiliary view. Very good. So everything has been scanned with his cell phone. So this is kind of a limitation that we don't have our printer and a scanner. So everyone they have to solve this problem. And then he found an app that they can capture. It was a very good, but you can notice the quality. And then this is final projects. So inform it. So not doing motion. And you can see the exterior and then the interior. Really well elaborated. So more than beyond to the expectation done by Steven. So the award of excellence, I'm going to give it to Steven, who is Sermon. So I like to to add that like others that are coming with experience. So this is the case. But it's really interesting that he can apply his experience and practice and knowledge. So helping each other. I noticed that this is a great teaching skill that you have, Steven. And then, so I know, I see that you pick immediately what is the point and then explain it really clear. So we really appreciate you stay with us, and you are definitely an asset and a blessing for having you with us.
Now, congratulations, Stephen. I haven't had much interaction with Stephen, but Antonio says he's a good guy, so I have to go with that. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Oh, thanks. You guys are gonna make me blush.
Hey, so you are here. So I was
Yeah.
thinking that you are not excellent. Really great, Steven. So you deserve it. Huh? Okay.
Here's the final project from Topographic Drawings and Details, and this was a surprise to me. Actually, Antonio saw this before I did, and this is a really nice job done by Daniel. So
don't worry, I submitted it today, Brandon.
I was like, wow, what is this? This looks
Yeah,
good.
it was a surprise. Really
So
fun.
it's a nice surprise. Yeah, really, really well done. Definitely.
Okay. So this is another work from Daniel, mechanical drawing. So the first activity is the transmission shaft, and he did a very good job here. I forgot to add the 3D, but the quality of the drawing is outstanding, very well done. So this is the final project, device machine, and then we are going to have all this component and then the 3D. Very good job. So another one from Daniel. So this is the process piping final project. So we have just a portion of our refinery, and then we have to have 6 lines to develop, and then join all those equipment. And this one, it was done using AutoCAD, but I tried to push and then implement the AutoCAD plans. And then this is an example of this kind of software integrating, like importing from AutoCAD. It's really interesting in the experience, and yeah, definitely we're collecting this information to, in the future, apply that in our curriculum officially. So the project had to have all those information for each line. So you can see that you have the 3D, the isometric, okay, and then all the specification. So the bill of material. So this is the done, but doing that in AutoCAD and doing that from AutoCAD plan is completely different approach. So the award of outstanding achievement given to Daniel. Just one down. Go ahead, Brian.
So this is the first time we've issued this award, and we figured it was warranted given the case. You know, when Daniel came to us, he's got more of a hands-on sort of background. He got into the software, and he just blew through the course at lightning speed and kind of surprised us all. And so we figured he was deserving of this outstanding achievement because he not only met the deadline, he's finishing the course before his deadline. So we figured that was that was deserving of outstanding achievement, really.
Yeah, just to add some figure. So when you are taking 1 year, so this means 51 weeks, and Daniel, he did it in 41. If I don't make a mistake, Daniel. So
40 weeks, I finished it.
30? Wow. So
40 weeks.
Oh, 40. So
Yeah.
we missed 1 week. Well, so it is a lot, sir. Okay, so I don't know how you did. So you're showing this kind of a multitask organization discipline because you never miss one class. No? So this is really outstanding. So congratulations, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Okay, so then Brandon, it's your turn.
Yeah, we have a few campus announcements. We made a couple changes. You may notice on the schedules. What we've done is we've taken construction materials and methods, and we've offered that as a flex course. So that way you can take that course, you can start it when you first begin, and you can work on it progressively. and so it's no longer integrated part of the term 2. And then we've taken ACT 450 Revit Architecture and moved it out of Flex course and put it as a dedicated course in term 2, so that every time it'll be offered in term 2, it's no longer offered as a flexible course. That way it's more dedicated and there will be more hands-on experience.
Yeah,
So
definitely. I think this move, it was a win-win situation, and led to have a lab for practice, and then have you, Brandon, you available for the any question with Revit. Very good. Okay, so we have a student that are graduating ready. So Tanner Boniface in architecture, April De La Cruz in architecture, okay, so Michael Greening in engineering. So we have Daniel Swandan. So this is the last date for you. The process piping specialization engineering. So we have a Siaur, Ramam, and the engineering. So we have a Shaman, as I mentioned, Shaman Catayena, and the BIM program. So we have a Ben Walls. So we have to mention him, and then Bogdan Rusu. So all another graduates, and then UL James. So this is the BIM 6 months, and we're still working with some that they are having concluding that completely. Okay, go ahead, madam.
all right, so the referral program is worth $250 if you are to refer a friend or somebody you know. You can always cash in and gain $250. So we do have on our website, we do have like a web page, a page specifically for your student work, where we're going to showcase your work, and that will be presented to employers. So we're really excited about that. It'll show all of your work, and so this is a nice addition to our webpage.
So as I mentioned before, so it's important just to work how you're going to show your skill, and then this is another opportunity. So you have the website from our school where you can drop, okay, and then have your project exposed to the world. Brandon, you want to take it?
So we do have a term break coming up from the 27th to the 1st is the term break that week there. And so this is a good opportunity for you. If you still owe assignments, you can use that time to work. I can't speak for Antonio, but I'm not going to be away on any sort of vacation. So you can still reach me if you want. If you have any questions, you can let me know. I'll still be able to get back to you. So yeah, use that opportunity. And then we have a start of a new term on Monday, July 4th. So we did send out the schedules. You probably received notification. I have received some notification as well. So we sent you the PDF version of the schedule. We sent out the invites to the calendar events. So just review everything and make sure that everything is correct. If there's any discrepancies, don't hesitate to let us know.
Yeah, so I'm not going to be anywhere, so I'm going to stay here in Edmonton, but I would like you to enjoy the break. But for those that are still working, so we are going to be available, so you can reach me anytime. Even we can set some video chat if you need it. But yeah, hope that we can have a really a break. Okay, so thank you everyone. So this is that's it for today. Okay, so
yeah, thanks for coming.
Okay, so
and thanks to Ben for your presentation and sharing your knowledge.
Yeah, I forgot to close the the presentation and show the whole screen. Okay, but well, anyway. Okay, so yeah, any questions?
No, I just want to say thank you guys for everything that you did for me, Antonio, Brandon, Jessica. Hopefully I'm back sooner than later to take my architectural design. So
great.
Good. We look forward to having you back.
Yeah.
You're going to do that in 6 weeks.
No, not because I want to get a job, so I'll have a job. So I won't be able to fly through. But it was a good time. It was short, but it was good. So I hope you guys have a good weekend, and hopefully I see you guys soon.
Excellent. Mary, so go ahead, open your mic and then, yeah.
Hi, I just want to say thank you to Antonio, Brandon, and Jessica, and for the school for all the support. And I apologize if my assignments are late. I'm working on it. It's just like I requested for flexible schedule. I cannot submit everything all at once. So yeah, thank you for the award too.
I
you're
would
doing
really
very well.
appreciate your effort. So it's not easy working full time and then maintaining your studies.
Yeah, this is not easy. It's not easy, but well. So as I
And three
mentioned, so
children.
yeah, as I mentioned, so you are learning practical skill. You have to do it. So hang on, otherwise you don't get it, guys. Okay, so and then you have to find time. So you have to find time right now in this era that everything is virtual, even with the computer. But you have to spend time, otherwise you don't get it. So this is my tip for you. Hey, Gaetan, so you made it. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm on my way home. Just had a few appointments to go to, but thanks for all the assistance from you guys. It's pretty nice so far. Pretty pumped for the next term coming up.
Definitely. So, thank you. Okay, so any question?
Hey, Antonio, just a quick question. Have you sent out the for the classes for next term?
Yeah, they know the class, and then know the the classroom, and then the calendar. Not yet. So
Okay.
this coming week, so I'm going to do that.
Cool.
But you have the schedule already.
I have the schedule. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
Perfect.
Brandon
Thank
is
you, guys.
taking Brandon is taking Tuesday and Thursday, and then they're taking Monday, and
Wednesday.
So
Awesome. Oh, thanks, guys. Thanks so much.
okay, so anything else, Brandon? So what?
No, I guess enjoy the weekend, enjoy the term break.
Yeah,
like I said, we're always here. Don't hesitate to reach out.
Me too. So